Tonight, tackling knife culture amongst the young in Scotland. The mother of a man stabbed to death has now distributed more than 100 emergency bleed kits across the country. Also tonight, following the devastating earthquakes in Venezuela, people now living in Scotland are trying to help those suffering in their homeland. Counting the cost, people across the country are facing a rise in their energy bills as the price cap jumps by 13%. While in sport, Dundee accepts several bids for highly rated defender Luke Graham as he's set to leave Dens Park. I'm Sharon Donaldson and this is the STV News at 6, live from Aberdeen. Good evening. The mother of a man stabbed to death has now distributed more than 100 emergency bleed kits across Scotland in memory of her son. John McNabb was attacked by a teenager in September last year in Edinburgh. The youngster, who we cannot name because of his age, was sentenced to life in prison last month. Lisa Petrie wants to see changes brought in to make it harder for young people to get hold of knives. Lewis Meehy reports.
Since her son John died, Lisa has been determined to make sure his death won't be in vain. She's now delivered more than 100 bleed kits like this one to community centres, shops and pubs.
Your adhesive bandage, your medium bandage, your large bandage and your gauze. I wanted an emergency bandage, an emergency blanket put in my kit because when the incident happened with John, that he was cold and his friends had to strip down to the boxers to keep him warm until the paramedics arrived.
John McNabb was 22 when he was stabbed to death on Great Junction Street in Leith last September. His killer, who we can't name because of his age, was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 17 years.
Just funny all the time, constantly funny, constantly jumping about. Wouldn't like doesn't like arguments. Would crack a joke rather than have an argument with you, sort of thing.
It's not just the bleed kits. Lisa wants to see changes around the sale of knives.
Every day now, if not every day, at least once a week, we're hearing stories of people being stabbed, people being attacked, things like this. There needs to be a look at the law, not the supermarkets to stop selling them. This is not what I'm saying. I just want them removed from the shop floor. I want them so that they're not accessibly easy to steal, to purchase.
They don't steal them because they're going to use them. They steal them because their mates got them and they just think I better have one if he's got one, or the guy over the road that invited me is going to have one.
Yep.
So they're not going out there and saying I'm going to steal that knife because I'm going to kill, but that's what it starts.
This past weekend, Lisa's campaigning took her to the Scottish Parliament, where she met the King. And it was an opportunity to speak with the First Minister. She's keen to secure a formal meeting with John Swinney to discuss her calls. Rollout of the bleed kits won't be slowing down.
When I first met Lisa with my assistant, that means we both had tears to our eyes when we heard, and I think that's why I feel that we should be supporting Lisa with this campaign, because it is very touching.
I think it's really important that we've got the first one here launched today, and I'll certainly be talking to other community organisations and schools to make sure that we can have this rolled out across Midlothian.
For Lisa, the fight to make change in honour of John goes on. Lewis Mickey, STV News, Pennycook.
As the race to find survivors continues after devastating earthquakes in Venezuela, the community now living in Scotland have spoken of their concern for friends and relatives back home. The death toll stands at nearly 2,000, while more than 40,000 are still missing. The Scottish Government says it's contributing £250,000 to aid the international relief effort. Reem Sitar has more.
Still hoping to find survivors. People are searching for family members stuck under the rubble after twin earthquakes hit the central northern area of Venezuela last week. Back here, concern for those caught up in the disaster. Marcia runs a restaurant in Aberdeen. Watching the horrific scenes in her homeland is taking its toll.
One of my auntie live in Caracas, and she's the flat was a break, the wood, and she was very scary because she's an old person. And the friend of my niece has died in La Guaira. And a lot of friends disappeared and not found yet. It's very sad.
My uncle, he was in Caracas, but he's okay. I have a lot of friends from my school that still missing, and we don't know if they are alive or they're died.
Venezuelan authorities estimate almost 2,000 people have died, but the UN predict the death toll could increase to 10,000. Tens of thousands are still missing. The Scottish Government is to give £250,000 to the Disasters Emergency Committee.
People are living in fear, they're living with nothing, they're on the streets, and so whenever an emergency happens, the most important things people need are food, shelter, sanitation, and that is exactly what our partners are well placed to do. They're there to support people to have the essentials of life.
In Aberdeen, although thousands of miles away from the rescue effort, people are gathering to see what can be done to help.
If the people want to help, there are a lot of people without houses, and we are organizing to buy tents to give to the people, because Venezuelan government is stopping the help, is stopping the rescue team, is stopping the food. The solution is not for a month, it's not for 3 months. The real solution is going to be for long time.
As the number of those displaced from their homes increases, international support is starting to get through, but the true scale of the tragedy is still emerging. Reem Sitar, STV News.
Charities are warning thousands more people will be pushed into fuel poverty after the energy price cap increased by 13.5%. They are urging the regulator Ofgem to take bold action to tackle soaring gas and electricity prices. With more than 30% of households in Scotland now in fuel poverty, there are calls for a social tariff for those on the lowest incomes. Lynn Rankin has more.
We've got a long, hard winter ahead.
Yes.
Again.
Hard winter. No good.
At this lunch club in Dundee, they're poring over the rising cost of gas and electricity.
It's going up and up all the time, isn't it? With having the MS, I feel the cold. And it's going to be quite hard, I think.
It's terrible what they're doing with this price cap and everything. Really not nice for anybody, disabled or no disabled. The elderly, there's going to be more deaths in elderly people.
From today, the energy price cap will rise by 13.5%, adding £221 to the average household energy bill, pushing it to £1,862 per year. It's not a cap on bills, so the more you use, the more you'll be charged. The increase is driven by gas, with the conflict in Iran disrupting oil supplies and pushing up prices.
Energy costs aren't just heating costs. Energy underpins all the essential functions of our lives. You know, it's keeping the fridge cold, it's giving the kids a bath, it's keeping your phone charged, all these essentials that we need for a dignified standard of living. It's even more concerning if you're somebody who is living with a disability, and that's about 70% of the people that we see across the Citizens Advice Scotland network needing support with energy advice.
It's pretty frightening.
That's really terrible.
Alison works at this centre in Dundee, helping others through hard times. But with a disabled adult son to care for at home, her energy bill is a constant concern.
We have hoists in our house that need fully charged. We have an electric bed that needs fully charged. All different kinds of feeding equipment that always needs charged. And washing is constant in the household.
The Scottish Government says there is support through its welfare fund and emergency heating oil scheme. Regulator Ofgem is urging people to explore fixed tariffs or change their payment method to save money. But for those struggling this summer, the winter is already a worry. Lynn Rankin, STV News.
It's claimed there's been an increase in child poverty and homelessness in Aberdeen because of the downturn in the energy sector. That's according to the Aberdeen Serenians charity, who've been giving evidence at Westminster today. MPs were also joined by energy experts as they debated the future of the industry in Scotland. Well, Hayley joins us live now from Aberdeen. Hayley, did they come to any conclusions?
Well, one single final conclusion, no, Sharon, but in terms of a general consensus, yes, those giving evidence today all came to the consensus that action in some form is going to need to be taken in order to stem these job losses that we are seeing in Aberdeen. Now, that is not new news, of course, today, but what was slightly different about the Westminster committee that we heard today, there was a real focus on the people behind those jobs that are being lost and the impact that it's having on their lives and therefore the city.
We're speaking about people. We're not speaking in a trauma-informed way. You know, redundancy is a traumatic event. We are removing people's lives. We are impacting their mental health. We are seeing homelessness rates increase in the city. We are seeing child poverty rates increase in the city. This is what it comes back to. This is about the people and the people that we support in the city.
I think language is hugely important. It's probably underestimated how important it is, but we also need a change of language needs to be met with a pragmatic change of policy, simply around taxation and around future licensing. And I think we actually create that economic boom, the opportunity to deploy the additional tax revenues to support defence spending, to support people's bills.
Now, one of the questions that was repeatedly asked by MPs today, by those giving evidence, was what does Aberdeen want? What does it want to solve some of those challenges that we have just been hearing about in those clips? Well, they asked for good policy and planning in terms of energy, a stronger focus on the people behind those jobs and more help for charities in the third sector who are supporting those who are losing their jobs in the hundreds every month in the northeast of Scotland. But perhaps going forward is not so much a question of what Aberdeen says it wants, but rather will the government listen and act on its answers?
OK, Hayley, thank you. Dundee University's long overdue financial accounts for the year leading up to the emergence of its crisis have now been published. They reveal the institution's overall cash and liquid assets dropped by £42 million between 2023 and 2024. 675 staff have left the university, largely through voluntary redundancies. The principal is not ruling out compulsory cuts as they look to make a further £20 million in savings. With just over 3 weeks to go until the Commonwealth Games, the King's Baton has begun its Scottish tour. It's not getting the same worldwide relay like before, given the scaled-down nature of the Games, but it will travel around the country ahead of the opening ceremony later this month. Glasgow stepped in to host the event after the Australian state of Victoria pulled out over cost. Fraser Nicholl reports.
For an Olympic champion swimmer, arriving on the water was maybe the only way. Duncan Scott held the King's Baton high over the Clyde as the host country's first baton bearer and its most decorated athlete.
Yeah, it's cool. Not my usual commute to work, but yeah, no, it was really cool, good fun, and yeah, a real honour and a real privilege to kick off the King's Baton relay here in Scotland.
It was welcomed on land by mascots Thistle and Finney. But unlike previous relays, this baton hasn't travelled the world to be here. Each nation has their own one to design, without the complexities and cost of a continuous route, a symbol of these scaled-down games.
The event's going to be different this year, but what this is about Glasgow coming to the rescue of the Commonwealth Games and Scotland deploying creativity and innovation to create games that are sustainable, that can be taken around the Commonwealth. Glasgow essentially has secured the future of the Commonwealth Games, and that's something about which we should all be very, very proud.
So how will it actually compare to 2014? Well, last time there were around 5,000 athletes competing. This time it's around 3,000. 261 medal events to 215. 17 sports to just 10. But a slimmed-down Games comes with a slimmed-down cost. Public money paid the majority of the budget in 2014. The price tag for these games is around a quarter of that and is largely being covered by private funding. So with just more than 3 weeks to go until the opening ceremony, is the city excited?
Aye, buzzing.
You sound it.
Oh, it's absolutely, can't wait.
I won't be able to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've got placement and work all at the same time. But
Too busy.
Too busy.
I mean, I think it's good that Glasgow's doing it and taking it on, and hopefully it'll be good for the city.
We've got tickets for the Olympic weightlifting and swimming.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it?
Yes, very much so, yeah.
I think it's great for Scotland. I know the last one was a bigger event, but still I think this is a good event and I'm glad Glasgow has it.
It may be a far cry from 2014, but these friendly games could present a model fit for the future. And with the world's eyes turning to Glasgow once more, organisers hope the city will embrace another summer of sport. Fraser Nichol, STV News.
Absolutely. ScotRail passengers who board without buying a ticket in advance face a £10 minimum fare from today. For many shorter journeys, that means the minimum fare for ticket dodgers will be higher than the standard ticket price. The operator says fare evasion costs more than £11 million a year. US President Donald Trump earned more than £30 million from his 2 Scottish golf courses last year. His latest financial disclosures show Trump Turnberry in Ayrshire generated almost £24 million, while his Aberdeenshire course at Many made close to £7 million. A new sculpture to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Royal Regiment of Scotland has been unveiled by King Charles. Created by renowned sculptor Kenny Hunter, the artist says the lion statue represents the strength and courage of those who serve their country. Laura Piper reports.
With full military honour and unveiled by royalty, this is the new symbol of Scotland's soldiers. Cast in bronze, it's been commissioned to mark the 20th anniversary of the Royal Regiment of Scotland.
Yeah, it's a hugely proud moment for the regiment. We're a young regiment, obviously 20 years old today. We've got over 400 years of history, and we've always been very connected to our communities. Our regiment recruits from all over Scotland and beyond it, and when we're here doing something like this with His Majesty the King in support of us, with our people behind us as well, it's what we do this job for, and it's a hugely proud moment.
Sculpted from clay and forged in fire, for artist Kenny Hunter, this lion represents the strength and character of Scotland's infantry.
There's so many lions in art history, it's quite hard to find a kind of a space to work with something new. And I felt that the young lion not only reflected the age of the regiment, but also to a large degree of what a lot of the soldiers and officers are, younger.
This lion represents the 6 regiments who came together in 2006. The Royal Regiment of Scotland has been one of the most active in the British Army, deploying to Iraq, Afghanistan and Bosnia, as well as supporting NATO commitments in Europe and the Middle East.
And here it is, the lion now in its permanent home beneath Edinburgh Castle. As the artist told us, he wanted to show this lion at rest, but always alert, a symbol of courage and a symbol of strength, just like the men and women who serve. Laura Piper, STV News, Edinburgh.
Well, it's time now for all the sport with Chris, who's just jetted back from the World Cup. What a trip.
Oh, Sharon, it was absolutely amazing. Top highlight, the Tartan Army. It felt like the whole of the north of Scotland had just up sticks, gone to Boston, gone to Miami. I felt like I was there with 50,000 friends and family. Amazing.
Absolutely.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Spring Sale.
Good evening. It is great to be back. Now, Dundee are set to land a club record fee of what's believed to be around £2 million for their young defender Luke Graham. Well, several clubs have met the Dark Blues' valuation of the 22-year-old, but Stoke City appear to have won the race to sign him. And that comes as fellow defender Billy Cumetio today completed a move to Charlton Athletic. With more, here's Stephanie Daly.
Stephen Presley stressed he had a squad rebuild on his hands, and so it's proving to be. Luke Graham's impressive form last season put him on the radar of a number of clubs over the last few months. Now the Dark Blues are set to land a club record fee, believed to be in the region of £2 million for the 22-year-old who came through the youth ranks at Dens. The club have received several bids for the defender, all of which would be a club record. But Stoke City appear to have won the race to sign him, with Graham looking set to put pen to paper on a deal with the Potters. He's a player Dark Blues boss Stephen Presley admits will be tough to replace.
Dundee is a club that this is going to happen to when you bring young players through and give them the opportunity and they do well. You are going to then see them move on, which, you know, is financially beneficial for the club, but for you as the manager, you've got to find a like-for-like replacement.
Of course, and that's the difficulty. You know, I see a lot of clubs in our own situation, and that's why we have to curb our expectations. I don't want us not to have ambition. We have to have ambition, but I see a lot in football. There's clubs that go through cycles that are very like ourselves, where they bring through a crop of very good young players, they have a really good season, and then everybody takes their best players, and then you go back to the start of the cycle and you have to work through that cycle, which can take another 3 or 4 years. Our job's to keep improving that cycle. Our job's to really get in place a recruitment process where we can find the next Luke Graham, but it's very, very difficult.
Meanwhile, Billy Cometio has today completed a move to Charlton Athletic for a reported fee of around £500,000. That will see the Dens Park side profit from the sale of the defender, who they signed on a free transfer from Liverpool 2 years ago. Stephanie Daly, STV Sport.
Now, Scottish bowls legend Paul Foster says he's going for gold ahead of his 6th Commonwealth Games. Well, the Games will be slightly scaled back this year, but there is a record number of para-sports medals to be earned within the main schedule. We spoke to a few from the Scotland camp earlier today to find out how they're getting on.
I'm Lucy Grieve and I'm a swimmer on Team Scotland this year. Being part of Team Scotland is like nothing I could have ever imagined. You know, it's something I've thought about for the last 4 years, hoping to be here with a Scotland flag on my cap. You know, I've been lucky enough to race for Great Britain and race for Scotland in like smaller level things, but there just seems something so magical about being part of Team Scotland, you know, have all the sports, and even seeing everyone together here, it's just so exciting to be a part of that, and I just feel so honoured that I'll be there this summer representing such a great country. You know, I might never get another experience like this, certainly not in a home Commonwealth Games, so I think just trying to enjoy it as much as possible and yeah, just take in as much as I can.
My name is Paul Foster, MBE, and I am Lon Bowls. This is my 6th Commonwealth Games. I was at Glasgow 2014, which I can remember like yesterday. I'll go in with the same attitude as I have for my previous games, try to put myself into medal contention, then obviously I'll be going hopefully for gold.
I'm Kaylee English. I'm representing Team Scotland for 3x3 wheelchair basketball. The group of girls that we've got for this team is so good. It's young, it's exciting. We want to win, you know, we want to get that medal for Team Scotland. We want to show what wheelchair basketball is about. It's really exciting for it to be in with all the able-bodied sports, playing alongside everybody, which is really unique.
Yeah, I'm James Clegg. I'm an S12 visually impaired swimmer. I'm going to swim the 100 freestyle and the 50 freestyle. I've only just really returned to swimming properly. I retired in 2016 from swimming, and it took a few years off and did my own thing, became a new character, and then coming back I wanted to try and make Paris Paralympics, and unfortunately I didn't make it, and then trying to get my head back down, and I wanted to make it for Commonwealth Games. There's some absolutely brilliant athletes coming up, and I'm just as inspired as seeing their enthusiasm towards us as it is still seeing like the people that were here back in the day, still with the same attitude, if not better.
Oh, great to see. Now, there's been a goal in the England-DR Congo game. Harry Kane has just equalised, and more World Cup on tonight. Belgium against Senegal here on STV. See you back here on Friday.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Spring Sale.
OK, time now for a look at the weather forecast. And Sean is here. Still no sign of summer, Sean.
Oh, definitely not today. We've had wind and rain across much of the country. Now, if you're watching from the west of the country, the west coast and the Hebrides, you're not going to enjoy tonight's forecast because we're going into a proper westerly for the foreseeable. That means we'll continue to hang on to rain. However, in the east of the country, things will be drier, brighter and warmer. And next week, some spots could turn very warm for a time. Let's look at the forecast.
Expect clear skies, island vibes, and afternoons made for exploring. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Well, plenty of rain out there just now, heavy bursts as well. The rain will start to turn a wee bit more showery as we go through the night. We'll hang on to the rather blustery winds around the west coast and the Hebrides during the night as well. Temperatures are going to hold about 13 or 14 degrees. Now tomorrow to start the day, it's still very windy around northern and western parts in particular. It's going to remain windy throughout the day. Lots of showers to start with across these areas as well, but these showers will slowly start to ease. Although I think we'll hang on to a number of them across the North Highlands and also Orkney through much of the day, where it will be feeling quite cool in that wind and outbreaks of rain coming and going, especially during the afternoon across Shetland, but elsewhere becoming drier and sunnier and, well, not too bad. If you can get out of the breeze, Aberdeenshire, Aberdeen, Dundee, Angus, temperatures 19, maybe 20 degrees, so feeling nice in the sunshine here during the afternoon. On Friday, more rain coming into western parts, the best of the drier and brighter weather in the east, highs into the low 20s, so again feeling nice in the sunshine. And there is going to be quite a difference between the west and the east. We go into a proper westerly all into next week as well, which generally means eastern parts, look at this, Aberdeen. In Aberdeenshire, we could get up to 22 or 23 by the time we get to Tuesday, maybe even higher by the middle of next week. The Western Isles and especially around west of Ross looking particularly wet over the next couple of days, and you can see here temperatures probably staying around the mid-teens. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, he's widely regarded as the man who helped shape the modern music industry. Now, dozens of items relating to the late David Bowie, which have never been on public display before, are set to be unveiled in Dundee. The city's V&A will host a 4-month exhibit from November, showcasing costumes worn by the singer during his Ziggy Stardust period. That's all we have time for. From everybody here, good night.